Well, hi everyone. I'm John Ritland with the second part of every WrestleMania Women's Championship match, ranked from worst to best. So yeah, part one, if you didn't see that, by the way, is up here because I went a little bit rant crazy during that. I hope you guys enjoyed that one because, my God, this is going to be a lot more positive. Much, much, much more positive. Because, let's be honest, from, after you talk about the Fabulous Moolah and Sable, all you can do is go up from there. So, number 10, Naomi versus Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch versus Carmella versus Mickie James versus Natalya, WrestleMania 33, six-pack challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Well, Naomi had to relinquish the championship after beating Alexa Bliss at Elimination Chamber because of the 30-day rule. The 30-day rule that they waive just whenever the fuck they feel like it. Really what they should have done is held off on Naomi winning it if they were worried about anything and hold off and have her win it in her hometown. Because Orlando would have popped big. Now, they popped big for her winning, and it was really, really cool that she got to perform in front of her hometown fans. But honestly, and even some family, I assume. I don't know. I didn't scan the crowd because I don't scan the crowd for wrestlers' families. I'm not that obsessed. Those of you that are that obsessed, please fucking seek help. Naomi managed to win here, and it was great. This would have been better as an elimination match and been given a little bit more time. But no, they need to give them about, 6 minutes. There's human centipedes and women together and give them 6 minutes to, decide which one is the best. Who wins at the climax? What the hell is this show on about already? We get to number 9. Bayley versus Charlotte versus Nia versus Sasha, WrestleMania 33. Look, let's be honest. Had Bayley won here and not won on a random Raw, I might have actually liked it a whole lot more because then you would have had Bayley's championship, reign mean a little more. But now she won on a random Raw, much like Sasha, and it just made no goddamn sense. But it was cool to see Bayley retain. Do not misunderstand me. This much is true. It was great to see that. But then we had the horrible Bayley, this is your life thing with Alexa Bliss, where you could tell even Alexa didn't want to do it. Anyway, this match was actually pretty goddamn good, despite the fact that Nia Jax was in it, and Sasha somehow didn't injure herself. Sasha, as good as she is, tends to be made of glass. Good lord. I think her weaves are made of more durable material than she is. So, and Bayley, it could have been Bayley and Charlotte, and actually would have been better. But good that they got 4 women, only slightly human centipede together to get this to compete for the Raw Championship. And hey, Bayley retained. Cool. All right. And then the aforementioned Alexa Bliss feud. Oh my god. But this was a little bit better than a 6-pack challenge because at least it was given a little bit more time. So we then get to number 8, the Iconics versus the Boston Hug Connection versus Nia and Tamina versus Beth and Natty, Women's Tag Team Championship match, WrestleMania 35. If the Iconics hadn't won, this one would have been ranked a lot lower. It was cool to see the Iconics win. Just too bad that nobody followed up on. The Iconics were seemingly forgotten to be Tag Team Champions. The Women's Tag Team Championships were a mistake. In retrospect, they were just put out there because of the fans, and the fans were right to clamor for them, but then WWE stopped caring instantly. I don't even think they cared when Sasha and Bayley had them. And the Iconics would have been a great duo to, have them be cowardly heel champions and cheat and everything and stuff like that. No, they were barely featured on there at all. It was stupid. It was really fucking stupid. Why the fuck would you do that with championships if you could have, made some goddamn money off of it? But anyway, I said it was going to be a lot more positive, and I just realized that I'm a little bit more negative about stuff. But honestly, I was so thrilled when the Iconics won. I wish I would have recorded my reaction, because I was legit shocked. I was shocked in a good way. I was like, oh, thank God, they're doing something with the Iconics. That maybe, okay, if you separate them, Peyton's the better wrestler, Billy's not that bad. But together, being best friends for so long, they have such good chemistry. You could have done something with it. I don't know why they didn't. But, and you had Nia and Tamina there, and to Nia's credit, she did compete apparently with 2 torn ACLs. I would assume that Tamina should have just let her borrow one of her ACLs, and that's what happened. It broke because Tamina's always goddamn injured. Why is Tamina in a WrestleMania 36 match? That much I want to know. But Beth and Natty, it was cool to see them compete. Them as a good team. Boston Hug, Sasha and Bayley did not throw a tantrum afterwards. Despite the reports of an alleged wrestling reporter. which I never claim to be. I'm just somebody that reads shit on the internet and watches wrestling and observes it and stays a fan and just decides to rant about shit. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, he just shouldn't have said that, and we know who he is. But anyway, this match, it was what it was, but it was pretty good, and the Iconics winning elevated above what it would have been had anybody else won. We then get to number 7, Becky versus Ronda versus Charlotte at WrestleMania 35. Winner take all match. You would have thought this would have been ranked number 1. You would be wrong about that. Was it a bit botchy? Yes. Were there some issues? Yes. Was the crowd likely half asleep? Yes. Because WrestleMania took about 18 years to get over. It was cool to see the women main event. Let's be honest, if Ronda Rousey hadn't been there, Vince McMahon wouldn't have even given, the women main eventing a second thought. He wouldn't have. And I'm not saying that Becky, Charlotte, or numerous other women that were in NXT, they were both in NXT and on the main roster, especially at this time, could not have justified the main event spot. They absolutely could have. But Vince McMahon wouldn't have even, bothered with it had Ronda Rousey, somebody from outside. So, it was like, they'll know who she is, pal. She'll elevate our people. They'll know who, and fans will know who she is. They'll know who she is, and then they'll know who we are. Even though if they had marketed them, Becky and Charlotte and a few others properly, that would have happened. But Vince McMahon is kind of a weird guy. This match, yes, it did have the botch, the weird 3 count thing and stuff like that. And I guess Becky was supposed to tap out Ronda, which actually would have been kind of a cool deal. I don't know when Ronda's going to come back. I don't really care when Ronda's going to come back. I'm sure there'll be shooting footage of her, and she will deny any shooting took place. But this, for all the positivity I'm trying to spread about this countdown, this is being a lot more ranty than I expected. But yes, Becky winning was the right call. It's unfortunate that they slotted Charlotte in there as a SmackDown Women's Champion when you could have had Asuka versus Sonya on the card, even if it was on the pre-show. But now they had to scrap that, and they had to have Asuka get screwed over by Charlotte again. I'll get to that match here in a bit. So we go to number 6, Asuka versus Charlotte, Mania 34. If Asuka had won, this would have been number 2. She didn't. It's fucking bullshit that Charlotte won. I get why she did, but my thing is you should have... Having Asuka's streak broken here wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world if she had beaten Carmella. Carmella, who never deserved to be champion. She could have cashed in on Charlotte, and then Asuka should have beaten her, just absolutely destroyed her in a few minutes. There was no reason to give Carmella a long run, because she wasn't very good. But Asuka losing here to Charlotte, it was dumb. It was really dumb. We knew that Charlotte was going to win. I think we all felt deep inside ourselves that they were going to screw up Asuka, and especially after this, they did. Now Asuka's still super over. She's invincible to bad booking, in the sense that crowds are still going to love her regardless. But my God, you could have had so much more if you just would have had her win here. Have her win here and have her stop Carmella's cash and do something like that. But no. Then she won the championship, just all this and everything. It's annoying and I'm angry, but the match was good. The match was really, really good. These women performed really well. Some, great apron spot, great, spot into a triangle choke. It was well wrestled. Easy for me to say. But just Charlotte winning knocks it down a few pegs. I'm sorry. Number 5, Victoria versus Molly Holly, Mania 20. We get Molly Holly putting her hair on the line against Victoria's championship. And then Molly Holly loses and gets her head shaved. That's how dedicated Molly Holly was to the business, to wrestling. Molly Holly is not in the WWE Hall of Fame, but the Bellas are going to be. I'm sorry, but why? Just a bit of a sidebar. Anybody that's a fan of the Bellas, by the way, I knew they were going to go in. That's not the issue. But it just proves more and more that the women's side of the WWE Hall of Fame has become more and more bullshit. Because as you put in premier, well-rounded workers, people that are pretty good, you can't put in Molly Holly. You can't put in Victoria. You can't put in others. You can't put Cyndi Lauper in the Women's Hall of Fame. You can't put Miss Elizabeth in, who apparently it's because of her family. But you can put the Bellas in. But anyway, back to the match. Match was good. It was weird how Victoria just went with the backslide. Just from out of nowhere. She pulled a Kerry Von Erich against Ric Flair at David Von Erich Memorial Championship Memorial thing, whatever the hell, Parade of Champions. Couldn't remember what the goddamn thing was. Pulled a backslide out of nowhere and then shaved Molly Holly's head. Molly Holly, by the way, who looked good with and without hair. She could pull that off. Bravo to her. And she played that up pretty damn well. Put Molly Holly in the Hall of Fame, you cowards. So we get to number 4, Jazz versus Trish versus Lita, Mania 18. Trish had a maple leaf right there. It was on her ass, that's what I'm saying. It was in Toronto, so of course Toronto Trish was going to get a home country pop. This wasn't the best triple threat match that Trish was in. That match is actually going to be next. But this was a string of Trish matches where she was, that really is hard to say, where she actually was really, really good. Now, was she the best? Arguable. I would say Mickey and Victoria. I would say Victoria especially was better. But that being said, Trish was good in the ring and earned what she got. And this match was pretty good. You had Lita involved. Trish and Lita would be destined to fight forever. But Trish and Jazz also had a pretty good, series of matches as well in 02. And this is pretty good stuff. But it would take a bit for Trish to win a championship at Mania. We would get 2 Trish versus Jazz versus Victoria Mania 19 for our number 3 entry. It's in Seattle, and look, let's be honest, I wish I had been able to go to this show. Unfortunately, I had a car accident. I was in a bad car accident. Suffered the most severe of concussions. For those of you who don't know, I've suffered a few. That was actually one that was pretty bad. So bad to the point that I actually only know I got in a car accident and only know because of what I was told afterwards. But anyway, memory loss aside, how was this match? Pretty good. I wish I'd been able to see it live, but I just couldn't. I couldn't afford the tickets at the time, and I was recovering from stuff. This was a really good match, though, and you had Stevie Richards get involved and hit himself in the head with the chair, and it was very, very enjoyable. It was a very good match. Yes, there was a bit of a botch. You're going to have botches happen. It is what it is. Victoria's goddamn good. Trish is goddamn good. They had an even better feud than Trish and Jazz did, and they had a pretty good, hard-hitting feud. But Victoria would lose here. Trish would win, which was nice. It was really, really cool to see Trish win. Wish I had been there, but it is what it is. Now, we go on to one more Trish match. Mickey versus Trish, Mania 22. Boy, Chicago turned on Trish really quickly. No, that's not a euphemism. They cheered the hell out of Mickey. My God, did they ever. Maybe it's because they all wanted to stalk Trish, but they couldn't, but they can live vicariously through Mickey. That's how that phrase goes, right? No, that's not how that phrase goes. Mickey was just healing it up and really enjoyed. The crowd was like, let's go, Mickey. She, at one point, just, screamed at the crowd because she was really feeling it, and you could tell, like, the crowd was really having fun. Speaking of feeling it, they cut out the part where she grabbed Trish's stratosphere and did the V signal stuff that I'm just going to leave at right there. But they cut that out, which I don't know why Vince was furious, because it made for good television, and Mickey was just having a whole lot of fun. But this was a really good feud. This might be Trish's best feud. This and the Victoria one might actually be the best ones that she did. And it's kind of 1 and 1A. Mickey really playing the psycho, stalker chick to the best of her goddamn ability. And, psycho stalker in general. She kind of reminded me a bit of a... Everybody ever see Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon? She reminded me of that. Gender swapped, obviously, but she just reminded me of just how insane that character was. Also, don't go on roller coasters and do that, kids, because that's dangerous to do that. Anyway, so this was a pretty damn good match. However, it's not number 1. It was close. Sasha versus Becky versus Charlotte, Mania 32. This is the best match on the Mania 32 card. Fight me. You can fucking fight me if you want. The ladder match wasn't even as good as this. These women were competing to become the first of this era, the WWE Women's Champion, to get rid of that stupid Divas Championship. Even though there were some good champions, that belt was ugly. That didn't even deserve to be called championship. It was just it was fucking rotten. This was a great goddamn match. All 3 women brought it. They wanted to show that, hey, just all the stuff we were doing in NXT, Oh, we ain't slacking off here. We're going to steal the goddamn show. Yes, they did. Yes, you had Ric Flair's interference and stuff like that and everything, but the women brought it, did well. You could argue Becky maybe should have won here, but Charlotte winning, I get why she did, because Charlotte had already held the championship for nearly 7 months by this point. But Becky would then go to SmackDown and become the inaugural women's champion of SmackDown, and she would do okay for herself. Becky's doing just fine for herself now. But that's going to be it right there. This was a goddamn great match, but it was a lot of fun to talk about this and rant about some of the stuff that wasn't so good. But anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.